Hey guys, my name is Crazy Penguin, and this is going to be a small video talking about the latest update to Tribes Ascendant called Accelerate, which introduced 27 new weapons to the game, one for every slot for every single class, which is really freaking cool. Footage in the background is just me goofing off as the Juggernaut, as we're going to talk about the Juggernaut's new stuff. First off, the new variation on the Fusion Mortar, which, as you might expect, isn't going to be vastly different. Like I said, variations, they're just reskins or recolors. And, you know, some stats are changed. No new mechanics or anything like that. Nothing groundbreaking. So the small variations on the Fusion Mortar are, you know, actually pretty small. It does about 100 more damage at a point-blank shot and has a slightly smaller radius. Overall, the radius is hardly noticeable, and the extra damage is hardly noticeable. It's almost interchangeable. It doesn't really matter which way you go, really. Overall, that difference isn't so great that it's even noticeable in most cases. And then the other thing, too, is that they increase the projectile speed, which, again, is barely noticeable. Unless you're, like, top-tier competitive play, and all you do is use the Fusion Mortar, you're not going to notice a difference in your shots. I went into a practice game, and I set an angle on my mouse, shot with the old one, and shot with the new one, and the new one goes just slightly further, just barely. It doesn't seem to arrive any faster, even though they say it's a faster projectile. Overall, it just seems like the gun is different. I guess I prefer the newer one because it's newer, but when you compare everything, it really isn't all that much better or worse. It's just different. Alright, so let's talk about the new spin fuser. This thing is completely unnoticeable to me. I compared fire rates. There's almost no difference there. The only major thing I can say is it does about 80 to 85 more damage. You might as well use a new one at that rate. I mean, it fires about the same rate. I didn't really check the ammo count, but like overall, it's hardly noticeable. It's just a spin fuser, like all of them always are. I would use the new one. And then lastly, you have the grenades. And I don't prefer grenades on the Juggernaut. I like the spin fuser discs, mostly because you get an extra one. They're easy and predictable. I mean, everybody should be familiar with using the spin fuser, of course. And the new grenades, they just act like regular old grenades, honestly. There's nothing really spectacular about them. They have slightly different features. It still does pretty decent damage against players, only with a bigger radius now. In the end, the new Fusion Mortar isn't super spectacular compared to the old one. They seem to be interchangeable. You don't even really need to purchase the new one, in my opinion. The spin fuser I would use, mostly because it does more damage and doesn't feel like there are any other trade-offs. And then lastly, the grenades is up to you. Bigger radius, a little bit less damage. And that's going to do it for this video, guys. Hope you learned something, put it to good use in game. Feel free to click on any of the links you see on the screen. Subscribe to us. Check us out at FPSGeneral.com, and I'll see you in the next video, guys.